Hello everyone, welcome back to Ninja Gaiden 2. Joining me today is Skyzo, which is good because I have a question to ask him. So, Skyzo, what's the color of the background?
It's a little orange-red.
And what color is that fireball-looking thing that could hit me if I get too close?
Orange-red.
What about my ninja friends?
Orange-red.
And these tiny little things, what color are they?
That's orange-red.
There is a lot of orange in this game, and unfortunately this sort of marks the point in Ninja Gaiden 2 where I don't feel like it was play-tested quite as thoroughly as Ninja Gaiden 1, and I feel like Acts 4 and 5 are the most glaring example of that. Cause like all the sub-weapons are orange too, look at it.
Yeah, this is not a very good example of how to pass a color class.
And it'd be really bad if you were colorblind. Like, what's the kind of colorblind where you can't see red very well?
I think that's just the most common one, right?
Not really sure. And you know, some of the other acts and enemies are like that to a lesser extent, like the black bats against some of the black parts of the background and the dull gray bats against the rock formations, but where it gets really bad is with the oranges, because I can't tell you how many times I've gotten hit, how many times I've had to pause, and how many bottomless pits I've gotten knocked into because I couldn't see the enemies. It's absurd.
Yeah, pretty much everything's orange, and like even with the blues, like your character is blue and then the ground is blue as well, which like kind of adds to it a little bit.
Yeah. Like Ninja Gaiden 1, do you remember having trouble seeing things in that one?
No, I don't.
Yeah, so, like I said, it's a nitpick. Acts 6 and 7 start being a little better about it, but for Acts 4 and 5, I feel like that's where the game's at its weakest.
I could see that. Also, these are some nasty platforms.
Oh, they are. And it's not helped by those nasty little flame things. Like, it's actually a little bit hard to hit them, because their sprites, their hitbox don't cover the entirety of their sprites, so it can be easy to get knocked around a little bit. Gotta be dead center.
Yeah, and then you have to time your jumps as well, and those things spit out fireballs, which is just makes things a lot harder.
Yeah. Also, we passed up the very first ninja scroll location because it was over a bottomless pit. That ninja scroll right there is what I typically like going for. Because, at least with this, I can sort of time my jumps and be all deliberate about it. Whereas with that other one, if you miss it, it just falls into the flames.
So, I'd like to ask something, like, I think I noticed, like, once you pause the game, the enemies continue to move. Is that true?
No, they stay paused. A lot of the backgrounds keep moving, though.
What about those fireballs?
I think those keep moving. The timer doesn't run down, though.
Yeah, so maybe you could use that to your advantage, like pause to wait for an opportune moment.
Yeah. Also, we've got the, Actually, we already killed it. We'll go over that later. But yeah, this is a jump that's similar to the nasty one in Act 5-2 in the last game. But you can just clip through the very top of things like that, which I edited into the Act 5 video, but I didn't know it at the time I was making it. So for you, that's the very first time you've seen it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Also, this stage is a prime example of where ninja friends start to be really helpful, because, like, I can get hard-to-reach orbs like that without risking the sub-weapon replacing my invincible fire wheel, and you do want the fire wheel for this.
Yeah, also I wonder if, like, let's say you have two enemies and you slash at them both, do they both die or is it just one?
They both die.
Okay.
Also, I do actually like this stage hazard. I don't like most of the ones in this game, but this one is kind of actively involved enough. And by the way, that's a tricky jump right there, but this one is actively involved enough to where it's not just a matter of waiting to move on, like Act 2 and 3 were. Those you just kind of had to stop in one place for a bit before it was safe to move on.
Well, I mean, I'd argue that's not entirely true since you have to wait for certain enemy cycles, but this one is a lot less forced in that regard. Like, you don't have to just wait for the wind to blow a certain direction. If you're skilled enough, you can bypass it.
That is the truth. Also, you can damage boost your way up these platforms if you're good at it. That's a little precise for my liking though, so I just do it the normal but slow way. Much safer.
Yeah, and I'm guessing the speedrun route for this stage is gonna be crazy, which I'm excited for.
Ooh, maliciously crazy. Alright, Skyzo. Are you ready to see like 7 to 9 different things on the screen at a time?
Sure, let's go ahead and see it.
Alright, we've got a bat, we've got a flame, we've got our ninja friends, we've got our blue ninja, and if we get to the other one, we've got 1 flame, 2 flame, 3 flames, a bat, an enemy right there, 2 ninja friends, and a blue ninja, and we've also got a health potion that we almost missed there. Pretty frantic, eh?
So when you have this many enemies on the screen, I imagine that the game lags.
Actually, it doesn't. Not really. Actually, let's talk about this orange thing. So, this is weird. Because you'll notice under most circumstances it falls through. Like if I hold still or hold left, it goes down. But if I hold right, this happens. It doesn't fall through. Do you know why that is, Skyzo?
No, I don't. Do you?
I don't know for sure, but I have a theory. I think what's happening is that it has instructions to fall straight down, but it also has instructions to scroll with the screen. I think the down cycle kind of conflicts with those instructions. So for a little bit, it's not scrolling with the screen, which means that the land is actually getting further and further under it, enough that it lands on solid ground. I think that's how it works. I've also seen that same thing happen in other games like Castlevania, but if any of you viewers know precisely what's going on, I'd love to hear it, because it is weird.
Well, that's just one of those things where these, like, just one of those quirks that these older games have.
Yeah. So, here's a question. We've been trudging through water all this time. And now that boss is spitting out that same water, right?
Yeah.
Does that mean we've been trudging through slobber all this time?
It's entirely possible. It reminds me of, like, there's this, like, I think it's a Greek myth. And there's, like a dog that's, like, trapped in, like, a river or something. And it continually, like, yeah, the river is just, like, blood and spit. It's kind of gross.
Ew. That does sound gross. Do you know if it's, like, Greek or Roman or something like that?
I think it's Greek, but I forget the name of it.
Did the dog have 3 heads, or is that another dog?
No, I think that's another one. Like, it's trapped for, like, it's being punished for something.
Oh, I see. Also, you'll note that even the speedrun route can't consistently get that ninja scroll. I mean, you can get it, but it's tight enough that even the runners can't get it consistently, so that second scroll location is sort of a backup strat.
Yeah, and when something like that is just so difficult to obtain, it's not even worth it.
Yeah. And do you notice just how much faster the speedrun sections are than the walkthrough portions, even compared to the first game?
I do, they're much faster, significantly faster.
Like, the world record for Ninja Gaiden 2 is like, I think like 10.5 minutes for the whole game, but you never know it playing casually, because there are just so many moments that encourage you to be really slow about things.
Yeah, and so imagine that for this game in particular, speedrunning it is very difficult, like you have to memorize a ton of things, like with the dark stage that I mentioned.
Oh yeah. Like, and I think part of that is we don't have the spin slash. What do you think of them taking that out?
Well, I mean, they had to, but even though they took it out, like, you still had, like, you still use that thing, like, to kill, basically insta-kill the boss in the first stage, I think, like the second. So that was that.
The art of the fire wheel, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, even though they took it away, there's a replacement, like, there pretty much always is.
Yeah, so it does encourage you to use more of your weapons, like the art of the fire wheel for boss kills, or the shuriken in the case of that guy that keeps spitting water, and then the invincible fire wheel for the regular stages, because those aren't that good against the bosses.
Yeah, like, otherwise you just have this single power-up that one-shots everything, and it's, I would imagine it's less exciting that way.
Yeah, I guess. Also, there are some walls that you just can't climb, and they're not typically marked. That's another odd thing about number 2.
Well, I imagine that the QA testers figured out that you could climb that and, like, clip through it, and so they caught that and made it so that you can't do it.
I guess. Because, like, the last time we did it, there were still enemies that could hit us. Also, get to a bit to the right, and that enemy jumps down on its own. And get that power-up, because that makes getting these airborne things a lot easier. And you want the invincible fire wheel, because those color problems, they are not going away in this stage, I will tell you that.
I hope that this is the last stage where we have a problem like this.
It is, fortunately. But this one is the worst of them all, though.
Yeah, everything is orange and, like, gray. It's so strange.
Especially this upcoming part right here. Skyzo, where is the enemy right now?
Well, I do notice that there's one orb in the upper right corner that's not in sync with the others, but I imagine that's not an enemy. And I actually just noticed a hawk on the left.
And what is that guy?
Oh, that's a bat. A very well camouflaged bat.
And what makes this really mean is that the wall next to the flames is another one of those you can't climb. Now, the flames don't insta-kill you, but they do 3 points of damage. So if you're caught down there and you don't have the invincible fire wheel, that's almost a death sentence anyway. Like, this is just mean.
Well, if you can't climb it, then how would you get out of the pit? I don't see that.
You just run all the way to the left and hope you survive.
Oh, but then wouldn't you be continually stunned by the flyer?
You would, but I think if you have full health, you have just enough. But yeah, like, this is the one act where my advice is pretty much just invincible fire wheel spam. Don't even try to be all methodical, because, like, it's one thing to have a lot of enemies in tough to reach places, it's another thing when I can barely see those enemies. Like, that's where I kind of draw the line and just say, nope, just running through it.
Yeah, that was a very sneaky bat as well.
Yeah. One thing I do like, though, is how there are cutscenes playing between all the sections, though, as we're headed down to the fight against Ashtar. I do like that.
Well, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Like, this game is just so impressive. It's super impressive, and I imagine that this game came out in like the late stages of the NES's lifespan, because like some of these techniques, like I can see those being used early on.
Yeah. And also, you will notice the enemies are much easier to see now. Ain't that nice?
Fortunately, yes.
Yeah, this is the part of the game. We are past the worst part of the game, I would say. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, and there's also a very pretty stage as usual.
Indeed, indeed. Actually, the ice counts as a stage hazard, because you can slip on it, right?
Yeah, I would imagine it does. Like anything that modifies normal gameplay is a hazard.
And I also like this one, because again, you do have to use your brain power to figure out how to traverse it. There's even a cool little thing you can do where, like, see those spiders that are normally too high for me to get with a regular slash? I have to duck.
Yeah.
One cool thing you can do, and the speedrun section uses it, is you can run forward a bit, duck, and the duck will still carry you forward because you're sliding. So you can sort of do a sliding duck slash, and actually that was a really mean cheap shot right there. I have to say that.
Yeah, that was cutting it very close.
But yeah, there are cool things you can do with the ice, so it's another one of my favorite stage hazards.
So do we see anything else like the wind that we saw in the first stage?
No, fortunately.
Yeah, because like, I mentioned this game before, but like, Super Mario Bros. 2, like, used the wind like pretty much every other stage, and it was pretty...
Now, would you say that was more or less interesting than the Mario Brothers 2 that we got?
Well, to be honest, I would say that it's a little more interesting, because like it's the same game, like it's the same base game, but it's different enough where I think it warrants its own merit.
Yeah. And I also remember that, weren't there branching paths too?
Yes, I think so.
Also, we could have gotten Art of the Fire Wheel just outside that doorway, but I want to do a sword-only strat for this guy first, and then the speed strat can be in the speed playthrough. And hey, Ashtar's being really nice, isn't he?
Yeah, you wouldn't expect that from a villain. Like, if I were to guess, like, he's maybe a rival to the ninja, like he wants to be honorable or whatever.
I wouldn't bet the farm on that.
Yeah, I think he just stabbed her.
Yeah. That's not looking too good.
So is she just dead for the rest of the game?
We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of her blood on the sword, which will be important in the following scenes. Oh, there's the weird guy again.
A very strange cutscene.
I kind of like Ashtar's way of talking too, like bothersome swine, some other minorly poetic ways of speaking. It's some nice flavor.
I mean, that's just your textbook villain.
I mean, he is, but he has some cool lines here and there.
I do like his design though. I think he's based off of samurai, which are pretty cool, I'd say.
Alright, the Emperor of the Dark Sword versus the Ninja of the Dragon Sword. Mano a mano. Hero versus villain. It's gonna be some serious stuff.
I hope so.
And now for the best boss theme in probably the series.
Oh yeah, this is pretty good.
So the strat is kneel in a corner, get your ninja friends lined up with him, and you'll dodge most of the fireballs, and even if you don't, they only deal 1 damage. So just do this and you'll be fine.
Really? That's only 1 damage?
Yep.
Doesn't seem very difficult, even if you weren't camping on the corner.
Remember at the start when you were like, I can't imagine just how much more difficult that guy was, and there was like that awkward pause as I was thinking of what to say.
I do, and it looks like the real challenge of this game is the levels.
Yeah. I mean, the levels are pretty cool though. Like, there's the way you can just clip through the walls like that. Kind of hard to do because the collision detection is very buggy in this game, but it's a nice little time saver.
I mean, I would say that the whole game is pretty cool, but yeah, like, I can understand why they made the bosses less difficult, because if you lose to them, you have to do the stage over again. Is that how it works?
Yeah. You have to start at the start of, like, you see stage 5-2?
Yes.
You start at the very beginning of 5-2. Unless you lose to one of the final bosses, at which... Actually, you know what? Even this game's a little more generous in that regard, because in this one they start you back at 7-2. It's not 7-1 like the last game.
Yeah, I imagine people complain and they change it for the better.
Yeah. Also, Art of the Fire Wheel. Ain't it great?
And it did a lot of damage very quickly.
And they put it right outside the boss door, too.
Yeah, again, I can understand why they did this, because they didn't want the players to, like, get too frustrated, because if they, like, if you're a player and you get too frustrated, you essentially just don't want to play the game. That's usually how it goes, so I understand why they would want to do that.
Also, the way he stabbed Irene. I'm not sure how well the game explains this, but that was basically the catalyst needed to open up the gates to the Dark World, or Hell, or the World of Chaos, or whatever. I'm not sure why it had to be Irene specifically, but...
I mean, she is the main character, so you'd imagine she has something special going for her, like a special soul or something like that.
Yeah, but they don't explain that.
Does this game, like, have an instructional manual or something like that?
They do.
Like, it doesn't say anything?
The only detail that you get that's not included in the main game is that she was investigating the Ashtar case as a CIA agent. Then she got kidnapped at some point. Other than that, it's just recapping the last game and asking a very good question like, Robert, what could his motivation possibly be? And I'm like, good question. That's never answered.
So, like, they never addressed it, even in future games?
Not that I'm aware of. Anyways, that would be the end of this episode. Oh, sorry, what was that, Skyzo?
Oh no, I just said it's a shame, because, like, usually when you have, like, I know of certain games that they keep details from you, but they share them in the manual. There's, like, a bonus thing.
Yeah, I did check the manual. Not this time.
Fair enough.
Anyways, that would be all for today's episode. I'm not sure where we're going after this, considering Ashtar is dead, but Maybe there's some hell baddies to take care of. Find out next time on Ninja Gaiden 2. Have a nice day and God bless y'all.
Okay, I'll see you later, YouTube.
Bye.